What's going on, everyone? Alex Schlinsky here for Prospecting on Demand and the Anti-Hustler Weekly Show. Thank you so much for joining us today. So excited to be sharing this insight with you. Today, we're going to help you scale your agency 3 to 5x what it currently is if you're stuck between like $5,000 and $20,000 a month. We constantly see people that are kind of in this format of being, struggling to get past that revenue goal or profit goal that they have. So we're going to be teaching you how to get out of fulfillment and master delegation, what levers you have to pull in your agency to get consistent flowing leads in order to close them. And then two things that almost every agency does at scale, which hint, it has to do with the audience that you choose and how quickly you can onboard new clients. Now, if you're new here, my name is Alex Schlinsky. I'm the owner of Prospecting on Demand, where we've helped over 1,000 agencies in over 50 different industries since 2017 scale to 6 and 7 figures per month. Most of them actually hitting 6 figures in profit, which is really the goal. We have a unique process called the infinitely scalable agency model that we're going to be sharing with you here today. If you don't know what that is right now, that's obviously totally okay. Stay tuned. I'm going to go over that later. If you are new here, I'd really appreciate if you can drop a 7 in the chat. If you're a recurring viewer or a person that attends these calls consistently, I'm so appreciative of you. Thanks so much. If you are live with us, drop a live on Facebook, potentially, if you could for me, it would help me a bunch. If you're watching a replay, drop a replay. The more that we engage with the content, the more that we get our message out, the more people we can impact, the more people we can help. We're strictly here to share value and content on a consistent basis. In today's episode, we're going to talk to you about how to get 3 to 5x your revenue with your agency if you've been struggling at that 5 to 20K a month mark for longer than 3 months, right? That's the ultimate goal. Now, the reason why we're doing this particular training is after training and talking with hundreds of agency owners that have been stuck at this level, I consistently find 3 common patterns of how we need to rethink the approach for agency growth. I'm sure that many of you obviously have heard the old adage of like, what got you here is not going to get you where you're going. Obviously, this is true, but most people don't explain exactly what's needed to be different in your business in order to hit upwards of 7 figures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you need to shape your offer and your fulfillment, how you need to learn the skills of management and delegation to get rid of non-ROI driven activities off your plate, and why it is mission critical for you to do that, what's going to ultimately future impact you, your family, your business, and how you can ultimately get beyond that 20K mark, even if that 20K mark feels comfortable. Before we actually dive in, we just need to do a little bit of math here, okay? If you're making 20K a month right now with your team, you could probably expect like 3 to 5K in team expenses, probably like $5,000 to $7,000 in ad spend, either from your clients. Like some people count ad spend as revenue, which is kind of a weird thing, but it does happen a lot. Like you'll see people say that they offer med spa, a $3,000 med spa package for Google PPC, but 1,500 of the 3,000 is ad spend, which is odd to do, right? But it does happen. So you're saying like $3,000 to $5,000 in team expense, $5,000 to $7,000 in either client ad spend or your own ad spend. Technology costs for like High Level or Asana or whatever it may be at like $1,000. You may like the end of the day, a $20,000 business might actually be like $5,000 to $7,000 take home, and that's before taxes, right? And so when you look at it after taxes, it's not really very good. You might as well be like working at McDonald's. Making $20,000 per month in revenue could often average like $3,000 to $5,000 take home after taxes, because what we need to do is think differently about our goals. We need to think differently about how we approach what's necessary to take 20K home after taxes and expenses. That's the game that we have to play if we're really serious about growing and creating flexibility and prosperity that we really want. So if you're ready to dive in, drop a 7. Let's get rolling. Let's do this thing on the Anti-Hustler Weekly Show. We do this show every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Normally, I'm joined by my co-host, Brian Downard. He is grieving the passing of his dog today. So if you can send him some love and appreciation, I'd be grateful for that. But with that being said, I know he wants us to trudge on forward and give you the value we can. He sends his love and appreciation to all of you. Let's talk about the steps, okay? The number one thing we need to do is ultimately installing the standard of having $1,000 profit per month per offer you have in your business. Now, I know a lot of you probably are implementing some sort of SaaS business right now. I respect that. I understand that. I hear you, and I have no problem with it. Just ultimately, long term, it's really, really important that you're able to build a business that's going to allow you to have at least a profitability of $1,000 per client. If you don't do that, it just becomes so much harder to really understand the math behind the growth growth of your agency. If you have $1,000 profit per offer, it just makes your business a lot simpler to run. Now, I want to make this point clear. If your offer profitability is 800 instead of 1,000, it's not like you're going to fail, right? It just makes it easier. The thing is, when you have $1,000 profit per offer, you are able to get so much more understanding of how to get 20K take home. How do you get 20K take home? 20 clients. Pretty simple, right? Now, obviously, if you can increase your profitability over $1,000, that's great. I would say the average marketing business right now profits anywhere from $300 to $600 per offer. If you can bump that to $1,000 per offer, you're going to be in a really, really, really good spot. Now, the other consideration is that most agency owners, they just don't consider time profitability because there's either an opportunity cost of pricing your services below $1,000 and the time that you put in after you fulfill, which might as well be a minimum wage job when you calculate your earnings per hour. That's the thing most people forget. You're like, well, my profitability is pretty good. I'm making $700 per client, but you're spending like 10 hours per client, or you're paying someone to spend 10 hours per client. That time profitability is not considered. And I know time profitability is a harder metric to track. I respect that. I understand that. But ultimately, if we're not making at least $1,000 per client, it just becomes so much harder to scale. And so what you really want to consider is, how do I build this business, right, with $1,000 profit lever? That's the lever that's most important for me to help you understand, right? So the two things that I said almost every agency does at scale, right, is one, trying to create profitability of $1,000 per client. And if you don't do that, you're going to have a really hard time scaling your business. If that makes sense to you guys, let me know in the chat. If this is valuable, let me know. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer as we go through this. Okay. Step number 2 is the 5 questions to clarity. And what I'll do is I'll actually share this screen. I know I see a lot of you that are in POD right now, which I'm super grateful for you. And I'm grateful to have you on this call. Thanks for joining us. Anyone in POD already has access to this SOP. And what I'll do is I'll actually give you access to this, even if you're not in POD. It's just a valuable SOP to consider. And this is the 5 questions to clarity, okay? This is a document where we can identify how you're spending your time in your company every single day. Most agency owners, most entrepreneurs in general struggle with delegation, especially when you're at that 5 to 20K mark, because what you end up doing is you have these mindset blocks around what you need to delegate, what you can delegate, and all of those elements, right? What this sheet does is allows you to get clarity on what's needed to be delegated, what can be automated, and what you can just stop doing altogether, or who you need to hire to take this work off your plate. And I want you to know that this is the core reason why agency owners get stuck, okay? If you're the type of person who really wants growth and profit and freedom, you have to have the ability and willingness to actually give work off to team members, right? If you are solely focused, right, on ROI generating activities, you are going to grow your business significantly more. Now, I want to make this point clear. That doesn't mean you neglect the value of delivery. POD inherently is a client success company. That's the most important thing to us. Ask any of our clients that work with us. There's several people on this call right now that are our clients or past clients of POD. The number one thing that we focus on in our company is client success. Right? But if we don't have someone on the team focus on ROI generating activities, right? It's impossible. Imagine if I was the running POD by myself. I was the one doing all client success and all client acquisition. It's not possible. There's too much work, right? It's too much work even at 10 clients, let alone 50, right? It's not possible. And so what you have people say is, oh, my team can't do it as well as me. They're not good enough. They're not capable enough. I can do it faster. If you just do some math, right, on the I can do it faster equation, when you do the math, you're probably spending like an entire week of the year doing I can do faster tasks instead of delegating and letting your team support you and grow. Otherwise, you're just withholding yourself from your greatest opportunities. You need to be focused on revenue generating activities and make sure your team is capable of delivering for your clients. And how do you do that? Well, 5 questions, okay? You can only delegate what you understand. You can only optimize what can be measured. And so prompting yourself, identifying how you're spending your days or your weeks, either one is fine, is going to allow you to succeed. Now, you can do this either weekly on Friday, or you could do it every single day if you're unclear. And I'm going to give you a quick example of what I mean by clarity, and I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second. I hired a nutritionist. I'm going to out myself here for a second. I apologize, but just going to be real. I hired a nutritionist like 7 months ago. And when I hired the nutritionist, they asked me about like sweets. Just so you know, your boy has a big sweet tooth. I love chocolate. Anyone Reese's fans here? Reese's, just like, is there anything better than a Reese's? I don't know. I just don't think there is. It's just incredible, right? Chocolate and peanut butter, match made in heaven. And so she asked me, she said, how often do you eat sweets per week? I'm like, I'm really not like a sweets guy. I'm just like a chocolate guy. And she laughed. She's like, chocolates are sweets. I'm like, I know, I was just being particular. She said, how often do you think you eat chocolate or sweets every single week? I was like, I would say probably like two out of 7 days. I feel like is fair. 2 out of 7 days. She's like, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to track every single thing that you eat for a week. And then I want you to report it back to me. And I don't want you to lie, and I don't want you to like feel bad about it. I just want you to get clarity on what it is. And so I tracked it 7 days. I wrote down exactly what I ate for 7 days. And what I realized was I actually had chocolate 5 of the 7 days. Hey, no judgments allowed. Okay. I like chocolate. Don't judge me. Now, back to the point at hand. I self-reported to her what I believed was the ideal scenario. I said, yeah, I think I eat chocolate 2 of 7 days. When I did the actual, breakdown of what I do, it actually came out to be that I eat chocolate 5 of 7 days of the week. And so the reason I say this is because self-reporting is not reliable. This is a proven thing. And so if you want to have reliable data, you need to actually track what you're doing. And so if you do it weekly, it's better than nothing. But if you do it daily, you'll really get clarity on what took my energy today. Of the things that took my energy today, what were things outside of my role? This says non-CEO. It doesn't necessarily have to be non-CEO. It says, what did I do that was outside of my role? Okay. Some people have also changed this that I've worked with in the past. I changed it to what non-ROI activities did I do? Because they want to delegate all non-ROI activities. ROI is revenue generating opportunities, right? Obviously, specifically, return on investment, but you get the point. So of the things that I did that were not within my role, that were not ROI generating, that were not revenue generating, what tasks can be delegated of those things? Well, in order to delegate those tasks, what systems do I need in order to delegate those things? Are there, SOPs that are required? Do I need Loom video trainings? What elements or processes do I need in order to delegate that? Because I can't just delegate it and expect that it's going to be perfect. And then lastly, of the activities that took my energy and things that were outside of my role, is there anything I could just stop doing altogether? And what will allow you to identify is the time that you're spending, you're probably wasting a good amount of it. The thing is, we all have the same amount of hours per day, right? We don't have just unlimited hours. You and Beyonce have the exact same amount of hours every day. You and The Rock have the exact same amount of hours a day. Yes, they have significantly more financial wealth than everyone on this call, probably all of us combined by 100,000 or more. But in general, not a competition, but in general, the point is they might have more resources, but they have the same amount of time. And so maximizing time is the key, right? And becoming efficient is key. And that's how you grow past that 5 to 20K mark where so many people get stuck. And that's why you're probably stuck. And if you're thinking, oh, but like I got to do the work myself, no one can do it as well as me. That's why you're staying stuck. If you want growth, if you want freedom, if you want profitability, you actually have to delegate more and expend more on your team so you can focus on growing more. And when you have $1,000 profit per offer, you know how to grow more. If you want that sheet, just comment 5 clarities below. I'll send you this as a gift for watching this training. If you're watching on replay, you can comment it on the Facebook group and I'll be more than happy to give you that sheet. It's totally free, no problem at all. And also, if you want to do it yourself without getting the downloaded SOP, you can do it yourself. It's totally fine. Let's talk about step number 3, okay? Now that you have a price that actually allows you to have profitability, okay, $1,000 profit, you have a plan to delegate non-ROI driven activities, right? Non-revenue generating activities. You're ready to focus on now new client generation. The key here to understand is that every strategy works. When I come on these calls consistently, when I coach people in POD consistently, I want to remind everyone there is no magic pill. There's no I that hasn't been crossed or I that hasn't been dotted or T that hasn't been crossed. Every single acquisition channel that is available to marketing agencies has been tested. And the thing is, they all work. The problem that you have to decipher, right, your unique puzzle, right, and why people work with us in POD particularly, is to identify based on your niche, your offer, your available resources financially and time-wise, right, those 3 components, What is the best offer for you? What's the best angle of opportunity for you? What's the best strategy you should be considering? And so my goal on this call is to give you those insights, but I want to make it clear. There's not some new angle that hasn't been identified. The only new angle I've heard in the last year for prospecting was Twitter DMs. That was the last new angle that I have heard. Someone was building a marketing agency done for you product through Twitter DMs, and they were getting good results. And I had never coached that. I had never heard of that. And so if you're like trying to find something new, maybe that's your angle. But the reality is like LinkedIn prospecting, TikTok prospecting, Facebook prospecting, Facebook groups, webinars, VSLs, Facebook ads or TikTok ads or YouTube ads, YouTube videos, short videos and reels on TikTok, direct mail, cold calling, warm calling, in-person, networking, events, event sponsorships, and so on. I think I just named 15 things, I'm pretty sure, and I can name probably another 25. All of them have been tried. All of them work. The question is, what works for you, for your niche, your offer, your resources, time and financially, and what's the best bang for your buck? That's what your responsibility is. Now, when you delegate other work, your ability to actually focus on client acquisition, on generating new opportunities for yourself is where you're going to be able to succeed. Now, here's the thing. The only long-term reliable solution that agencies can use to bring in new sales is paid acquisition. That's a formulaic level, meaning, hey, I know my cost per acquisition because I have ads where if I spend $5,000 on ads, I'm going to get 50 calls booked. From those 50 calls, 40 of them are going to show. From those 40 calls, I'm going to have 10 sales. Of those 10 sales calls, I make $10,000 in profit. I spent $5,000 and I made 10K in profit on the first month. Now, is that an actual scenario? No, it's not an actual scenario. That would be a great scenario. And if you're able to do that, then you keep building on that. But a lot of people stuck at the 5 to 20K level don't have the ability right now to invest $5,000 or $10,000 in ads. So you have to find a solution that works for you on any of the outbound strategies: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, outreach, cold calling, warm calling, etc. Direct mail. You're going to have to find the strategy that best fits your business. The thing that's really important is not trying to do 8 at the same time. My very strong recommendation for people stuck in the 5 to 20K range, okay, is trying 3 at the same time and really measuring the results. And when I say trying, I don't mean like a week. I mean like a month at least, with real effort, not no effort, not zero time. I really believe so strongly in the idea of using your business as a metaphor in the gym. If everyone wanted to have 6-pack abs, okay, they would have to understand the requirement to do that. The diet required, the necessary workouts required. If I say today that I want to have 6-pack abs, no matter how much money I spend, I will not just magically get them. It requires work and effort, right? And if I try something, a diet and workout plan that I pay someone that tells me it's going to work, but I only try for 2 weeks, do you think I'm going to have 6-pack abs? No. If you try LinkedIn for 2 weeks and you don't optimize anything on the outreach messaging, and you really are wondering why it's not working, it's because you're not working it. And so when you spend such little time on acquisition, and when you don't make enough profit per deal, you don't have a chance to succeed. And so when you're hunting to generate results through ads, you have to be able to do it outbound first, so the profitability you get should be right way invested back into the business. Any clients you get from outbound, you should take that money that you have, at least 80% of it, and stash it for advertising budget for your agency. And I think it's important to remind you, especially people stuck in that 5 to 20K range, not every investment wins. There's this weird mindset, especially for people in that range, that 5 to 20K range, that every investment you do wins. That's the expectation. If I spend money on direct mail, I automatically make my money back. If I spend money on ads, I automatically make my money back. Here's the thing that any person in marketing knows, okay? You can't win 100% of the time in your agency. If you work with med spas and you get 10 clients, you know not all 10 clients are going to retain with you long-term. Not because they suck, but there's a potential that your ads didn't work the way you expected. And it might be at a 70% clip. 7 of the 10 people succeed. And so in the same exact vein, if you expect that just because other people run ads online and generate results that you're magically going to get the results the first time you run ads. That's crazy. There are people out there spending $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. They run 250K a month agencies that are struggling and succeeding because that's the market. That's how it works. You have to have a different approach and mindset to this. And you have to have a money mindset relevant to understanding you have to spend significantly more money and more time than you think to get to the numbers you want. If you really want to hit 100K a month for real, you really want to do that, you need to be willing to spend at least 15% of that on ads, minimum. Yeah, that means $15,000. How many of you that I say right now, when I say 15 grand are like, yeah, I'm down to do that, let's go. Or how many of you just clenched your you-know-whats? Think about it. Think about it. This is why this matters so much. This insight's critical, all right? If you want to break through your glass ceiling, that is what it's going to take. That's the truth. If you are not ready to risk the investment, then it's going to be difficult for you to be in integrity with your clients because you're asking them to do the same thing. You're asking them to invest in advertising, but you're not willing to invest in it. You're not even willing to invest in the time that it takes to make LinkedIn work or Facebook work, because either you're doing it at like an inch deep, mile wide level, or you're just handing it off and expecting some other company to do it for you, which is so ridiculous. You have to have the breadth of coaching. I'm a big believer, not coaching, a breadth of like effort. I'm a big believer in the concept of an inch wide, mile deep, right? I'd rather you just focus on one thing, maybe two things, and go like really deep into that to get the results and give yourself a timeline of how fast you can get it. But if you have the money to invest in ads, but you're not willing to risk it, then you can't, with an integrity, sell your clients to do the same thing. If you're serious about growing, you're serious about creating freedom through systems, you have to be willing, you must be able to generate and have a system of new client acquisition that come to you profitably. Because if not, you're going to stay stuck on this hamster wheel. And if you've been stuck on this hamster wheel for 3 or 6 or 9 or 12 months, it's probably because you're not implementing the things we're talking about on this exact call. You cannot be afraid to spend money and lose money. That part right there. That's what business is sometimes. It is not fun. I don't want any of my clients losing money, but I also don't want to ever put a position or a suggestion that every single client we work with in POD, that every single thing we tell them to do automatically just sprouts thousands of dollars of cash. Any coach that tells you that they do that is lying to you. That's impossible. We're human beings. Every niche is different. Every offer is different. The market consistently changes. Every single nuance and variable is outside of our control. We know the inputs that usually will get us the output we want, but it's not 100%. There's just no such thing as that. And so you can't have that expectation, whether you work with POD or not, whether you work with another coaching program or not, whether you do it yourself, never work with any coaches ever. You cannot expect that expectation. You cannot have that expectation. If you want to be able to break through your glass ceiling, you need to be able to grow through appropriate acquisition systems. The agency owners who understand this, I have confirmed it. I have worked with them. They grow, they break through the glass ceilings. Okay? Now, if you're an agency owner, if you're a coach, you're a sales professional, and you really resonate with today's show and today's message, but you feel really stuck between that 5 to 20K a month mark, and you really want to have a proven strategy, a proven technique, and custom mentorship to accelerate your goals to hit your 7-figure agency, because you finally want to put yourself in that position to predictably scale, to delegate a proven sales process and free up your time without that fear the business won't grow, then this is what I have for you, okay? I want to have 5 agency owners on this call or on replay, coaches or sales professionals this week who want a complimentary 30-minute agency audit or sales audit, okay? What we're going to do on this audit is 4 specific things, okay? We're going to audit your offer. We're going to identify how you can price it more effectively. And we're going to message, right? Fix the message to figure out why this is so important to your audience so that you can get higher profitability. We're then going to do a time audit on how you're spending your time in your business and what you need to focus on to generate more revenue for yourself to hit your goals. And then we're going to map out a custom game plan for you on your very next best moves to start implementing what's necessary to achieve the goals that you have. And at the end, if you want ongoing support, we can talk about options where we can help you. Okay. If that sounds good, all you got to do is just comment your phone number. We'll reach out to you. We'll comment to you in the DM section. If you want me or the team to reach out to you, my team member, Adam, will reach out to you. We'll ask you some questions, make sure that we can actually help you, might send you a survey to complete so we can get to know your situation better. In order to qualify for this so that we can actually help the right people, right? And that we're spending our time appropriately, you have to have sold your product at least 5 times. If you haven't, it's not the right time for you. You have at least an average of 5 to 10 sales calls per month. So you are doing something to generate calls. It's just not enough. And you have a very, very high willingness to learn, take action, and implement on recommendations because action takers ultimately get the results that they want. So all you got to do is just enter your phone in the chat below. If you want me or my team to reach out to you so you can apply, there's only 3 available slots for this week. I will be able to do the other 2 next week. I have some spots available for tomorrow. So just reach out. Adam will be more than happy to chat with you. And that will be the show for today. That's my end of the show. I'm going to keep the show going for questions and anyone that needs anything. But if you joined us today, I'm very grateful and appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to keep it a little bit shorter today because if Brian's not here, we can kind of keep it a little bit tighter. 27 minutes, I think that's pretty solid. Let's see if there's any questions that we have here. Nate at Shift Social said, hey, 6 months in, he's been working with POD 6 months in, and we've come so far. We're still implementing POD systems daily. The support is immense. 6 months of work, and we're now positioned to scale and retain. Love the POD team. Love you too, Nate. Love you, Bella. It's so great to work with you both. I can't wait to see you in Detroit for our event. You're the best. Can't wait to see you. Jaden, my guy, what did you ask me? You said, what platform do you recommend most right now? I feel like I'm always on the Facebook ads train, Jaden. But it's really hard to say, like the problem is the comment that I made before that everything works is it's the same for the ad platforms. Here's what I can confidently say at the very least. Okay. Definitely for you particularly, and most people, definitely not LinkedIn ads. Now, I want to clarify when I say definitely not LinkedIn ads. If you're like the avatar for this actual call, like stuck between that 5 to 20K mark, LinkedIn ads are for sure not the right fit for you because the expense is way, way, way higher than any other ad platform. Google's probably pretty close, but it's way, way higher. If you have like $100,000 a month agency and you want to scale that, you got to try LinkedIn because you got to try everything is kind of the point, right? So like it would be foolish to not at 100K a month agency, try $5,000 a month on ads on LinkedIn. You probably won't get much, but the quality of LinkedIn ads when they are delivered is good. It's just way too expensive. Like cost per leads in almost every niche we've seen could be over $500 or $800. Let me clarify the word I just said. Cost per lead, not appointment, not acquisition, per lead, just a lead. That's how expensive it is. I don't really understand why that's the case, by the way, Jaden. I'm a little bit over my head, but that's what it is. The other platform, just for clarity, the other platform that I mentioned, well, let's just use Google, for example, like Google ads. Also, most agencies at the 5 to 20K mark, I would not be running Google ads. I would maybe be doing like search ads for your website if you are popular in the industry, but you're probably not. So and that wasn't like an offensive term. I'm just being legitimate. Probably not a good idea to spend money on Google either. It's very competitive and expensive, and like really large agencies are spending way more money than you on that. Facebook is very unique because they have like a guaranteed impressions rate. So like even if someone in your industry is spending 10 times the amount that you are on ads, like you're pretty much guaranteed to have your prospects see it. And if you're really good with copy and really good with like creative, you're going to win. What we've been seeing the shift as of late, and Jaden, we've been sharing this on our calls in POD as well, but like direct to call ads are key. Like we've been coaching a lot like lead forms as of late. Like our goal is just direct to call ads as fast as possible. Like what's the smallest barrier of entry to get on calls? And the reason why is it gives you so much feedback on your copy. Like if you get a bunch of direct to call bookings that are cheap, let's say like $50 a pop, which is good, right? But then what you end up realizing is like only one of the 10 are good, like 10%, is because the copy is not clear enough. And so when you could see that it's not clear enough, then you can edit it faster. And that gives you a faster POV. The thing is like agencies, even when it's 5 to 20K, they're like, I want to make like a VSL and like do a whole funnel. And the amount of variables for that process to understand like what's broken in the kinks, plus the time to get live is just crazy. Like it's not effective. It doesn't make sense. So I'm definitely a Facebook believer. TikTok is something I'm personally trying, Jaden, right now. It's okay. I don't know if I feel confident or comfortable in saying that agencies should be trying it yet. Again, at this level right now. But if you're making more money, always try. YouTube, it's really good. It's just the creative is so hard on YouTube. Like the barrier of entry on the creative is really, really challenging. Like you have to have a really solid creative because it's expensive. YouTube is expensive, but I think for people at the 5 to 20K range, Facebook is the move. That's my personal opinion. Hopefully that helps, Jaden.
Yeah, that definitely helps. And I have another question to
Sure.
piggyback on that. Is there like a minimum budget that you would recommend when starting ads, or like if you have $10 a month and that's all you can afford, would you say
A day, you
start
mean?
throwing yeah, a day, not a month.
Yeah, okay. I'm like, well, no, you can.
Not a month.
Um, yeah, so I'll always be transparent, like I've said before, right? I'm never going to say that I'm the ads expert. I'm not the expert. You know, my team, we have experts like Bobby and Andrew and Avery. It's definitely not my expertise. Doesn't mean I can't help. It's just not my expertise. I would say, like, you know, based on understanding CPLs in most industries, cost per leads in most industries, if you're only spending $10 a day, you might not have the ability to generate any leads. You can get impressions, but because the expectation would then be that your cost per lead has to be under $10. But for Facebook to serve your ad, right, that means you have to be under $10 per lead. And so it's really hard to expect that you would be able to generate opportunities at $10. I think the minimum is like $1,000 a month. That's usually what we coach in POD. I'm usually not happy with that number, but that's usually what it is. My ideal goal for anyone that I work with after generating enough sales is $100 per day. If you can get $100 per day, right, then you're going to have $3,000 a month. You're going to be having some significant opportunity to learn a ton. You know, I would ask Bobby directly, Jaden, if he thinks 10, I'm pretty sure he would say no. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I just said 10 as a number for the budget, but
Yeah,
I think
arbitrary.
we're right around looking at like doing $30 a day, getting those going again. But as far as where the best place to find everything in POD for ads, for agency ads, would it be the calls, or is there a place in the program? Because I was like looking, I didn't see like any
Last part
it's
again, I
not
didn't hear you.
yeah, so like, is there the best place to find like how to come up with good ads to find like our ideal customer? Would that be more in the calls, or is there a section in POD?
Yeah, there is. There's the magic ad template, and also Bobby will do a one-on-one with you too, but there's a magic ad template in the members area and training from Bobby as well. I'll point you in the
Okay,
direction if you drop it in the Slack channel. Jennifer or myself will do that for you. Of
cool. Thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate
course,
it.
dude. Always got your back, bro. 100%, dude. Does anyone else have any other questions for me? DJ Ratcliffe. Do you feel that ads should be a low barrier offer or just straight to the point? Yeah. Again, so I want to put this frame. I don't know if I read the whole thing, by the way, for everyone that doesn't see the message. I'll read the whole thing. Do you feel that ads should be a low barrier offer, like a $7, $27, $97 masterclass type thing, or just straight to the point? I want to make this point clear. Okay. For agencies stuck in that 5 to 20K level, definitely not this strategy, DJ. No chance. At agencies at that 5 to 20K mark, 5 to 25K mark, even 100%. Did my just computer hold freeze? Can you guys hear me? Am I
I
frozen?
can hear you, but you're just frozen. Your picture
Weird.
is.
Okay, I fixed it. We're good. Sorry about that. So again, agencies 25 to 50K or 5 to 25K a month. You should just be doing direct to call ads because it's the lowest barrier of entry, requires zero hoops to jump through. Now you'll see, like in previous coaching, like in the back in the day, you'll see the opposite of this. You'll be like, get them to jump as many through hoops as possible because that will give you the most qualified leads. Ironically, when you're starting ads, you're not looking for the most qualified leads. You're looking for leads. Let me clarify what I mean. You're looking for feedback as soon as possible from your audience, okay? And so if people read, which is the intention of an ad, and you say, I work with med spas, all right? And I can help you generate 20 new patients per month. Click here for a free audit and we'll jump on a call and I'll share with you how to do that. And they click on it, put in their name and phone number, and then they book a call with you within 3 days, right? Like that's the goal. Don't let them book past 5 days Try to keep it within a certain timeline so that you have a good show up rate. And you get 10 calls booked for $50 a piece, right? $500 you spent. And 8 of the 10 calls are not med spas. What happened? Well, 1, is our targeting correct? 2, does the copy need to be more clear? And so now we have direct results and feedback to work off of with very few variables. The variables are immensely less than if they were a masterclass for an amount of money, right? Because now you're trying to have them jump through a hoop. The $7, $27, $97 model, which by the way is much more used for coaching products than it is for agency products. Not that agency products aren't used for this. I do see it for agency products, but it's definitely a coaching product more often. The reason for doing that is people are trying to make a self-liquidating offer, and they have a lot more money to spend to use that as a front-end offer to generate high ticket sales on the back end. That's not the ideal scenario for a 5 to 20K agency. Hopefully that helps. Any other questions for me, guys? Anything else I can help with? Does anyone on the Facebook Live have any questions that I can help with? Zalmi, I don't know what 7.5 means. Sorry. Does anyone else have any other questions for me before we rock and roll today? Yeah, of course, DJ, no worries. My pleasure. All right, Familia, if you were watching live on the Facebook group, it would really help me a lot if you can just hit that like or love button and just drop a comment. If you were actually on the Zoom call and you don't mind jumping over to the Facebook group and just dropping in a comment, it helps us a ton. I'd appreciate that a lot. If you do want the agency audit, just reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you. We're here to support you guys. We do the show every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Brian is normally with me. Next week, we have a great show as well. Every single week, we'll be bringing the heat for y'all. For those of you in POD, always grateful for you and appreciate your time here, and always happy to help you in your channels. If you need anything we can do for you, that's what we're here for. Other than that, have a lovely rest of your day. Have a wonderful rest of your month. And Jenna has a question as soon as I'm about to end. Jenna, I will let you ask it before we hop out.
Sorry, I'm the worst. Okay. I'll
No,
be
you're
fast
good.
though. For the 197 plan, the group calls, when are those, and is the Slack is a part of that?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No.
So
it's not your fault. I'll be honest. I
197
was reading a message and I got distracted. It wasn't you.
The
It was me.
197.
Yes.
The 197 is the Slack included, and when is the call, the group call, like when in the week?
That call is Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Brian or another POD coach, not Slack.
Okay.
Slack is our mentorship program.
Okay.
That's Elite or Scale 7, which Jaden and Ryan are a part of. Bella and Nate are a part of. Adam is one of my team members. And then I don't know who else was on the call. If I don't know if I missed anyone, but hope that helps. Fam, thank you so much for your time. Always grateful for it. See you next Thursday at 3 o'clock. If you need anything from me, holler at me. I'll see y'all soon. Be well. Health is wealth. Don't forget it. Love all you. Bye.